so whatever the loss is, if you're dealing with a major loss and finding it difficult to cope, please see a doctor. You want to tell me why?
Yeah. First time I got married, I had just got out of jail.
Still that stereotypical view that the women should just go along with what we, are doing and nod our head and say yes. And in some cases,
are some signs that we should pay attention to, not just as that the relationship is going down the wrong road, but that there's possible trauma down this road. What are some of those?
Our women have to understand that we are pre-groomed to be in these awful situations by men, because we are, generally speaking, reared to be cooperative, complimentary, patient, give people the benefit of the doubt, et cetera, et cetera. So we don't.
Adkins. I'm an internal medicine physician at North Bay Center for Primary Care. So I see patients anywhere from the age of 18 to 100. I can see patients with high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, obesity, better their diet, and exercising. I started to become interested in medicine in a 6th grade health class. We actually learned about the cardiovascular system, and I just thought that was a great thing to learn, to see how the human body works. And then going into medicine, I was actually coming to patient care and just interacting with people and listening to what they do and helping them make their health better has been very rewarding for me. A great day in the office would be when patients come in and discuss their health and their excitement on changes that they have made themselves, and seeing that their actual blood work has become better because of the changes they have made, specifically like in their diet or exercising. So if a friend or family member is looking for a primary care physician, I ask for them.
Hi, good evening. My name is Claudette Estherine Campbell, and I am the president and chairperson of the Daughters of Sheba Foundation. Thank you for joining me this evening. I am not alone. I have a special guest with me. As you can see, I played a little clip of her from her earlier days in medicine. I would say, I think it's a 7-year-old clip. So a lot of things have changed, and we will hear more about that as when she joins us. My guest this evening is Dr. Adkins, and we're going to be focusing specifically on women's health. As some of you may know, May is observed as Women's Health Month in many parts of the world. And so leading into this month of May, which starts tomorrow, I believe, that's why we wanted to do this tonight. So without any further ado, because my time with Dr. Adkins is limited, so let me add her. Hi.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Great. How are you doing this evening?
I am great. If I was any more great, it would be legal.
I love it.
Thank you so much for saying yes, and thank you for being here. Like I said, our time is limited, so this is why I was glad when I found that clip of you, because I don't have to go into all of that, who you are, where you started, what got you started. But to break the ice, I am going to ask you about food, because I love to talk about food. And from what I was reading, I'm wondering, are you vegan?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. So on a Sunday afternoon, what the dear Dr. Adkins as a vegan have for her Sunday meal? I love Sundays, so I love Sunday dinners. That's why Sunday.
Okay, I was like, Sunday. What made you think of Sunday? I would say my favorite meal would be something like marinated tempeh with a baked sweet potato and roasted Brussels sprouts.
Okay. Marinated what was that?
Tempeh, it's like soybeans.
Oh, okay, okay. You know, more and more I find myself going off meat, but we will talk about that some more. I want to thank you for being here and thank you because it's a long time that we have had a conversation with um internal medicine doctor or a doctor, a real doctor of any kind. My dear friend and childhood friend, next door neighbor, Dr. Janice Chang, would normally join us, but she hasn't joined us in a little while. So please, I am so happy that you're here to help us out this evening. As I told you, we will focus on your areas of expertise. I am not one into to make people uncomfortable. So let me just read a little bit of what I have. So Dr. Amanda Atkins and you can correct anything. It's a double board certified internal medicine, lifestyle medicine physician. Let me stop there. What does it mean to be double board certified?
So we have to take two different board certifications depending on our specialty. So internal medicine is one, and that's what I did most of my training in. And then more recently, I developed a love for lifestyle medicine. So then I also took the exam to become board certified in lifestyle medicine.
Okay, okay, and we'll talk more about that. And you're also a health strategist and owner of Enlightenment Health and Wealth. And you have a deep passion, I'm told, for ensuring that everyone has a chance at a healthy and happy life. Your most recent focus has been with women who are overweight, helping them to prevent and possible reverse chronic illnesses such as diabetes. I'm diabetes. Don't know if I'm overweight. I might be a little bit underweight, but diabetes, heart disease, and high blood pressure. Is heart disease still the number one cause of death among women worldwide?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll talk more about that too. So both your medical and personal experiences, through them both, you know that lifestyle can lead to remarkable changes in our health and, listen to this, folks, our ability to fulfill God's will for our lives. I don't know if we can do this in 1 hour, but we're going to give it our best shot because I'm also interested in the last bit, about how I'm going to say faith impacts health. So you've been board certified medicine physician since 2009 and the board certified in plant-based nutrition since 2022 and board certified lifestyle medicine since that year as well. So folks, there you have her credentials. You can't question anything. You hear it all. Good evening, Cleo. Good evening, Colleen. Thank you for joining us. These are my faithfuls who are with us early, and I'm sure they will have questions and they will put it in the comments. So thank you, ladies. So let's jump right in. Internal medicine. What's the difference between internal medicine and, I know what a pediatrician does, I know what a surgeon does, but what is internal medicine?
So internal medicine focus on adults. So that's why in the clip you saw that I said 18 and older. I said to 100, but actually my oldest patient before he passed away was 102.
Oh.
So anyone that's, a legal adult is who internal medicine doctors see. And we see, anything that's medically related. So I usually try to tell people to think of like your family doctor, but I just don't see children. So
Okay.
yeah, so anything, and I always see people in the office. I don't go to the hospital. I don't cut on people, like you said, surgery. So it's mostly talking with them about lifestyle and medications.
Okay. And tell us about the lifestyle bit. How did that come about? Why, because I'm sure when you were in med school, and you are deciding what to do, and you decided, okay, internal medicine is going to be my focus, and then 2020 came along or sometime thereabouts, and you decided to be board certified as a lifestyle medicine. What does lifestyle medicine mean, and why did that come about for you?
So first off, lifestyle medicine was not available when I was in school. So that's why I did not do that then. So it's a relatively newer specialty. I believe 2014 is when they first started doing board certifications. I actually finished my residency in 2009. So lifestyle medicine focuses on things of lifestyle that you can change, and you can still prescribe medication being with lifestyle medicine, but we try to limit that and really focus on the 6 pillars of lifestyle. So number 1 would be plant-based nutrition, which is why I'm plant-based. Then it's exercise or movement, sleep, stress reduction, social connections, and reducing toxic substances such as tobacco and alcohol. So we focus on those 6 things, which if we look at it, that's, everyone, has those things, except maybe not everyone drinks alcohol or smokes tobacco. But we need all these things.
One. I'm sorry, I missed one. I have plant-based, exercise. I guess exercise and movement would be the same thing, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Sleep and toxic substances. What's the other 2 then?
So stress reduction.
Stress. Okay.
And then social connections.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So that's those are the areas that lifestyle medicine covers, while internal medicine look more, the traditional kind of medicine then, let us say.
Exactly. So when we were trained in med school, we weren't taught a lot about nutrition or lifestyle. We were taught mostly about how to diagnose and then what the treatment should be, whether it was medication or some type of surgical intervention. So lifestyle was always there, but it was like on the back burner. So they didn't focus on that a lot. And I really loved lifestyle medicine once I found it, is because that is like what I've been like searching for my entire life. So that's why I said through personal experience, because I was an overweight teenager, having all those illnesses in my family, heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, cancer. And knowing that I was going to become a physician, I was like, I did not want that to be my story. I wanted to be more of an example for my patients and, family members. So I started out, becoming a vegetarian when I was 16, and then starting to exercise more and things of that nature, and not really wanting to be on medications myself. I just, continued to learn more and more of what I could to prevent those illnesses as I grew older. And then I happened to come upon lifestyle medicine actually as a specialty. And so that's why I added that in later on, because I was like, this is what I've been basically doing my whole life. So I just decided to, get more educated about it.
So what state are you based in?
I'm currently in California, but I grew up in Indiana.
Okay, so let me be cheeky. The lifestyle and California seem to go together, because was that why?
It seems that way. And then you said you're going to talk about how the faith comes in. So I think I was just drawn here. Actually, I did not plan to live here. I did not actually come to California until later on, after I was, done with schooling and residency. And I happened to meet my husband when I was out at a conference here. And he is the one that actually pulled me out to California.
Okay. And how are you finding it there?
Oh, it's good. I've been here almost over 9 years now. So I've been married 9 years and been here for about that time too.
Okay. All right. So one of the first questions I asked you was if heart disease is still the leading cause of death. Can you tell me the top 5, if you can, or top 3 causes of death among women? Let's focus on women.
So I know the top 2 off the top of my head. I would have to probably go to the CDC to know the other ones and the order that they go. So heart disease and cancer. So like breast cancer would be, one of the top 2. I can tell you I have to like write these down. So the top 10 causes of death 7 of them are linked to nutrition. So that is actually like kidney disease, chronic respiratory diseases, so heart disease, cancer. Oh goodness, it is.
This is your board exam.
I know. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I used to be able to rattle these off like without even thinking about it, but it's like it's blocking now. But if anyone goes to like the CDC site and looks up the top 10 causes of death, 7 of them are linked to nutrition. I know one is not like suicide, so that's not linked to nutrition, but in a roundabout way it could be, because depression and some psychiatric illnesses can be linked to nutrition. So if the worse we eat, sometimes the worse those illnesses can get. And then I believe another one's like influenza that's not linked. And I think maybe motor vehicle accidents or something like that. But anything that's related, like that's not an outside cause, like something happened to you, then most of them are linked to nutrition.
Well, I was actually, I still am on the WHO website, and up to 2019, I'm looking at a 2020 report that covered up to 2019. And, there's heart disease, stroke, pulmonary disease, lower respiratory infections. And I stopped at number 5, which is neonatal conditions. So
that would be more worldwide than the US.
So
I'm thinking US.
So let us talk about heart disease. And do you find in your experience that any particular community within that subsector of people suffering from heart disease, and I'm talking about women, is it Black women? Is it right across the board? Is it Latinas? What's the situation there?
So I would say African American women are more likely to die from heart disease. Is
that because of poor medical care?
So access to healthcare could be definitely linked to that. But even if they do come to get checked out, their symptoms can be kind of brushed over more likely. So any woman of color, we usually tell them to really push and really, if you feel like you're not being heard, then you need to actually find a different doctor that can actually listen to you and actually listen to your symptoms, because women do not have the traditional symptoms of like a heart attack that a man would have. So it can be simply as, oh, I just feel more tired, which is something that we almost hate to hear in internal medicine. Someone comes in saying they just feel tired, because it can be, a whole slew of things that can cause you to feel tired. But that could be a sign of heart disease for some women, and especially Black women. So you would have to, try to really dig deep into saying, okay, when do you feel tired? Why do you feel tired? What are the other things that are going on? But you still want to push your doctor to really look into different things of why it can be causing you to feel tired, not just like, oh, you're not sleeping well, you just need to go and sleep. So it could be, heart disease. It could be, you can have diabetes, your blood pressure can high, you can have a lot of stress. But if you just feel tired, you definitely still want to look into your heart to make sure it's okay, especially if you're over the age of 50.
Okay. So as you said that, and I'm conscious of the time. So what are some of the things that symptoms that a woman should not be playing around with, and like you said, push. And I'm not just talking about women in America. I'm talking about women, because like I explained to you, my audience includes women in Jamaica. It includes women in Africa, across Africa. We have a lot of people from Nigeria who tune in to us. We have a lot of people from Kenya who talk to me on a daily. So what is it that some of the things that women should be pushing when they feel something going on?
So related to heart disease, if you have like heartburn, you may think, oh, I just need to take some antacids. So that's very common for women to have heartburn-like symptoms, and it's more related to their heart, actually. So they may have blockages in their heart. If they feel nauseated. They may have some chest pressure, but it may feel more like a tightness instead of somebody like sitting on their chest. They like, it's just something feels uncomfortable in their chest. They may not have the arm pain or the jaw pain. They may have, mid back pain. So the pain may not feel in the front. It may be in their back. If you have a family history of heart disease, if you are overweight, if you have diabetes, high blood pressure, or if you're a smoker, anything that's, I would say, above the belly button, if you're having pain in that area, you want to get your heart checked out. Okay. Because again, you never really know. And when, a lady comes in for me and they say that, I was like, oh, let's at least get an EKG. We may have to do a stress test. I would rather be safe than sorry. So really try to push your doctor to do those tests to make sure that it's not something that you would need to actually see a heart specialist for.
And turning to cancer, unfortunately, within our group, we also have a private group here on the internet. And within that group, cancer is playing havoc within our group with our ladies, particularly breast cancer. And I'm thinking of one case in particular because I'm more intimate with that case. It felt to me like it was just out of the blue. The diagnosis came in. I remember when she told us that she went and she did, was it ultrasound or something? And
did she have a mammogram?
No, she did mammogram and there was nothing. And then they said nothing. And then she went, whatever it was, I was like, but you can't tell somebody that they have cancer from that in one day, in one visit, So my question is, what is it? And I'm laughing because when she told us, I remember within 2 weeks, the other two of us who are directors of the foundation, we were at the hospital getting checked and so forth. So what is it that we as women, and not just breast cancer, any kind of cancer, as you said, is the second trending, let us say. What is it that should alarm us or stoke us or provoke us to say, let me go get this checked? Apart from doing your regular mammogram.
I was say, well, one, you definitely want to do the regular mammograms. That was going to be the first thing. And you just want to know your own body and how it feels. So you can actually do your own breast exams, like in the shower or something of that nature. And some women were like, well, I don't know what I'm supposed to be feeling. But you just want to actually know what your breasts feel like. So if we focus on breast cancer, and if anything feels different, then you want to actually tell your doctor about it if it feels different. If you have pain in any area, if you actually have like a knot underneath your arm, so like in your armpit, you want to have that checked out. If you start to get leakage from your breast, you want to actually get that checked out if you're not breastfeeding. So anything you want to actually be looking out for, any changes in your breast tissue. So the best way to know that is to actually know what your breasts look like and how they feel.
Aren't there some false alarms that can happen even with me doing that? Because I remember the first time I had a mammogram, well, not the first time, but the first time after a decade of not having one done. And I got it done here in Canada, where I live for 22 years now. They said it was a false alarm. They did the mammogram, then they wanted me to go back for an ultrasound because they said there was a mass, a density. Talk to us about that, because I remember being scared shitless.
Yes. So the mammogram is not perfect, especially if you have dense breasts. And, some women, because they have more breast tissue, is very dense. And so the mammogram cannot actually pick up all that the radiologist needs to see. So therefore, if it looks like there's something or they don't get a good view, then they want you to go back for further testing, which can be an ultrasound or what they call a diagnostic mammogram. So that just makes it like smaller cuts in the actual radiology that they can see. So it doesn't have it so dense, so you can actually see better in there. And a lot of women, get called back because of that reason. And like you said, they are very nervous when that happens because you never know, like, what are they seeing? Do you think it looks like cancer? You know, and it's very hard to tell. So you just want to, you know, go back as soon as you can to get that looked at further. And usually, I can speak for the U.S. that the radiologist will talk to you when you go back for the second one, so you're not waiting for someone to look at it later. But it's not unusual to be called back because they want to be very sure of what they're seeing and what they're not seeing.
There's this man on TikTok. I'm no sorry, I didn't write down his name, but anyway, it keeps coming up in my feed, and he's saying that he's against mammograms and just about every cancer treatment. But let's just stick with mammograms. He's saying that it's the mammograms that's causing us to have cancer. He's saying that, let me see if I can remember. What he's saying in terms of cancer, generally speaking, is that the body attacks anything foreign within it and tries to protect itself. So it forms a pocket around any toxin, you know, that's bad for it. And so when that pocket, let's just say, is formed in the breast, I mean, I touch my breast. In Jamaica, we have a superstition. If you talking about an illness and you touch that part of your body, it's going to happen.
Oh.
Let's pretend this is my breast.
Okay.
Let's go with my superstition. And he's saying that if the pocket is formed at this side of your breast, and then you go in to do the mammogram and they squish it, it's almost like it pops. So if you notice that people who have a mammogram who actually had something, it worsens after the mammogram. So he mentioned a more, I think it's probably what you said, a more a different kind of test for, let's just say, breast cancer other than a mammogram. I don't know if you have any idea what I'm talking about.
So you can get an MRI of your breast, which it doesn't squeeze. And, you know, I have a few people that prefer to get that, but I can't say I've seen any research that says that mammograms cause breast cancer. So I could not speak to that.
It's not like he's saying it causes it, but if the toxin is present, whatever kind of cancer, and you're there pushing at it, you're making it worse. So that's not the best way to treat at it. That's what I was getting from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And he seems to be quite popular, but anyway, let us go then to the alternative. Hold on. Somebody's saying the radiation from the mammogram is not good, but the test is needed. Just don't recommend doing it every year as I used to do in the past. What do you say about that?
So that could be definitely true. So some women, we do like every other year or every 3 years for mammograms. And we just discuss people's risk and how much like they maybe have been exposed to in the past. I usually try to get my women that are, especially Black women, like their 60s to 70s, so that decade, because there has been, you know, some studies done that show that that age group is more likely to die from breast cancer. Like when it's found, it's more aggressive. So I really try to push them to maybe do it once a year, but everybody else can be like every 2 or 3 years.
Okay, so that's your recommended timeline to get. So ladies, listen, get your mammograms done every 2 to 3 years. And you know, I'm going to find that video and I will email it to you of that man. Do you,
okay.
So you have a look, not to validate or whatever, but just to have a look. So let's then make the link to the plant-based, you know, lifestyle medicine that you talk about. So I've been diagnosed with breast cancer. Okay, let us say I'm not, but but let us say, when I read something about you, you said that you didn't actually the word you did possibly reverse chronic illnesses, but you listed diabetes, heart disease, and blood pressure. Can we reverse cancer by lifestyle changes?
So I wouldn't say lifestyle changes alone can reverse it, unless it's like very early found. I don't think we have the research to say that if you're diagnosed with breast cancer, like stage 1, all you have to do is, you know, eat a 100% plant-based diet and it will go away. I still would do some conventional treatment. Like I said, with lifestyle medicine, it's not like you take away the conventional treatment, you're just adding it in. The reversal comes more with the illnesses that I mentioned, like high blood pressure, diabetes, and heart disease, because they've actually been shown to reverse some of those. The cancer studies are still underway to actually be able to see how much it is. But I think because we have traditional treatment, not a lot of people are going to go into those studies to see if lifestyle alone would reverse their cancer, where they know that there's other treatments out there. It definitely can help prevent the recurrence of a cancer. So if you have been diagnosed with cancer and you had, your treatment, whether it's surgery, radiation, or chemotherapy, or the newer immunotherapy, that actually eating a plant-based diet and actually implementing other lifestyle changes, like making sure you're getting plenty of sleep, which actually helps reduce cancer cells and actually reducing your stress, then that can prevent the cancer from returning. So we definitely emphasize that for previously diagnosed cancer patients, or even while you're undergoing treatment, it can prevent it from getting worse.
You said you used the term and said it was a newer treatment. Can you talk a little
immunotherapy?
Bit? Right.
So yes, I don't know the details of that. I'm not an oncologist, but I do know a few of my patients. They have been given immunotherapy instead of chemotherapy. It's something that's actually directed specifically for their type of cancer that the oncologist can give them.
Okay. So that's lifestyle medicine. Would you say that it's anti-traditional medicine, or it's complementary, or it's where we need to be going, more preventative is it more like a preventative type of medicine?
So I would say complementary with preventative. So it can be used whether you have not had any illnesses, or if you've already been diagnosed with illnesses. So you can use it in every aspect. I use it specifically for myself for more preventative, but when I talk with patients, then I try to get them to do it for reversal. So it can work in any change, any lifestyle, wherever you are with your illnesses. And I tell people it's never too late to make changes, because even if you start when you're 70 or 80, it's still been shown to help and improve your quality of life, and can actually add months to years to your life with change.
You would hate to have me as your patient. I am one of the worst patients. I'm the patient from hell.
Oh no.
I am. And my latest doctor is from Nigeria, and he has a patience of Job, but he doesn't play around with me. So I respect him and listen to him. But I'm saying that to say I'm diabetic. I'm not claiming it. Diabetes has been part of my journey. And this man has tried everything to get me to behave myself, including.
Okay.
I wear that. No. Plant-based, you are not going to get me to eat soy. You are not going to get me to do exercises. I am an insomniac. I'm going down the list of things you said. I don't do toxic substances. I'm not stressed. Social connection, family, close friends, and social media. What do you do with someone like me with lifestyle medicine?
So first, I would ask you, what are your goals? Like, what do you want to actually accomplish?
Why am I still living? God hasn't called me yet.
Yes.
I'm just waiting on the call.
You're just waiting on the call. Well, okay, then if you mention God and that you're here for a reason, then I would say, well, yes, you are here to encourage someone else's life. So if there was someone that you can think of, that if you can talk with them in your life and they're like dependent on you to actually make changes first so they can actually live out their actual talents, Would someone come to mind for you, whether it's a family member, a child, a grandchild, a niece?
My grandkids.
Okay, so your grandkids. So you want to see them live out a healthy life. You want to actually see them grow up. Not really.
I just want to know that they have the foundation to do what they need to do.
Okay. So then I would ask you, do they have that already?
No, not yet.
Okay. So then you want to be around to make sure they have that foundation, right? So if you're not around to give them that foundation, and we want you to be around so they can have that, actually eating healthier, exercising, and sleeping, you will actually be that example for them to be around, so they don't see their grandmother just laying around or end up having a stroke and then can't move. You're not your vibrant self like you are now. If they don't have that, if they don't have you, then what are they to do? Because what you just said doesn't match your actions.
Mm-hmm. Got you.
Right?
Not convincing, but got you. Not convincing to get me to turn to a plant-based diet.
So then I would like to mention then that it's not necessarily that you have to be 100% plant-based.
Mm-hmm.
It's more likely that you would want to adjust some of the things you're eating to be from 100% carnivore diet, I would say, to go down the spectrum to closer to plant-based, not 100%. Most people that I work with go between 80 to 90% plant-based. So they just decrease their processed foods. They decrease their animal-based products, so their meat and their dairy, their cheese, their eggs, and add in more plant-based foods. And they actually have been shown to actually make some of these changes, whether they have better blood pressure, better blood sugar readings, better energy, better sleep, without having to do 100% plant-based. So a lot of people are scared when they hear me say plant-based because they think they never can eat an animal product again. And that's not the case. That's not the case at all. So I usually have people try like the Daniel fast, like people do that if they're,
What's the
in
Daniel
churches.
fast?
Church. So in the book of Daniel, they talk about how he and his friends actually ate, basically plant-based while they were in the king's training. So they did the guard was like, okay, I can't let you do that because if you and your friends are weaker than the rest of the men, then the king is going to, basically kill me. And so Daniel was like, well, let us try it for just 10 days, right? And if we are not, stronger, more intelligent, and everything like that, then the actual man that's eating the king's food, then we'll go back to eating the king's food. Well, actually, they were smarter, they were stronger, they were, healthier overall. And so the actual person that was over the training let them continue on. And actually, in the book, it tells you that they were smarter, like more knowledgeable than anyone in the kingdom. And even after they finished their training, they were like higher up in the kingdom, actually following more plant-based eating. So a lot of churches I know in the US do like a Daniel fast, like at the beginning of the year or something like that. And I always emphasize people, like they always tell me, oh my gosh, I felt so much better. My blood pressure was better. My blood sugar was better. But then they go back to doing what they were before. And I said, well, if you really are following the scriptures, Daniel and his friends never went back to eating the king's food. They continued to eat, plant-based and continue to grow in wisdom and knowledge. And so that's where the spiritual aspect comes in the faith. It was like, you can actually do this. You actually see that you're feeling better. You see the actual numbers change, but then you go back to doing what you were doing before. And I was,
habits.
Is that carrying out, God's purpose for your life? Because then you go back to feeling tired, irritable. You're not getting your things done that you would want to get done. And so it's just not the best version of yourself.
So let me ask you, why did God create all of these wonderful things, beef and chicken and, all of these things, if it was not for us not to eat?
So in the original plan, I believe, if we look back in the Garden of Eden, it was like he said, I give you all these seed-bearing fruits as your food. So I can't tell you that like once like God said, you know, you weren't supposed to eat these things that you're going to go to hell. It's not a salvation issue. It's more of how you're actually presenting your body and how you're actually using your body to glorify God. I'm not saying that if you eat meat, beef, chicken, pork, whatever it is, that you're going to be condemned, but it's just not the best foods for you to eat all the time.
Okay. And are there any other biblical diets that you would care to mention? Let's just say I can't do the Daniel. It's too drastic for me.
It's too drastic for you. Those are the ones I focus on. I don't know off the top of my head if there's other ones that people follow. I'm sure there is. There where some people may incorporate like fish from some certain things there, but I do not know a specific diet that people follow in Christianity based on scriptures specifically with that. So
okay. So
excuse me.
obesity, it's a serious tragic issue all over the world, but particularly in the United States. And in its greed, in their greed and laziness, and I'm being very thing about it. A lot of Americans and others, some Canadians as well, have decided to abuse Ozempic. That was developed for people like me, and I actually take Ozempic. I hate it, but I actually take it. It makes me nauseated. It's awful. It's and I'm sure somewhere down the line when I kick the bucket and they cut me open, you're gonna see everything that Ozempic did to my body. I have no doubt about it. And then you have the wonderful Miss Oprah Winfrey coming out to do a special to promote Ozempic. I've stopped watching her because of that, because I know how I feel taking Ozempic. So it's one of those things I would never wish that. The next step for me would be to go on a plant-based diet. To tell you how much I hate Ozempic, I just take it because my doctor is fed up with me. He says I cannot control what you eat, but with Ozempic, I can control how much you eat, and he's so right. You know, because if I eat over a certain amount, I am sick literally to my stomach on Ozempic. That's how it affects me. What are your thoughts on this?
So I would ask you, why would you do that to yourself? You feel bad on it. You know, you can do something different that wouldn't cause those effects.
All the same words that I call the Americans: lazy, stubborn. I'm all of those things because I okay. There's there's a part of me that is not. There was a time when I was in denial about my diabetes. I've long past that, but there's a faith side of me that says I view my faith differently than that says it's not what I eat, is the way I think about it. It's the way I think about what I'm putting in my body. So automatically, there's some things I just can't put to my mouth, Ozempic or not. So despite how bad I've been, my doctors up to a year or so ago are amazed that I'm still walking. And I attribute that to my spiritual beliefs about the way I approach food. So that's why. And then he said to me, I would be an irresponsible practitioner if I did not recommend that we try Ozempic with you, because my numbers were through the roof. I was constantly 17 and 20. Constantly.
My.
Yeah. And that's why I now wear this and all of that.
Yes. So that would be correct. I wouldn't say that I would go out promoting medication saying that this is the best thing that you could ever do. when I know that lifestyle things can change. I have prescribed Ozempic for people and medications similar to that. And it usually comes to the point to where it's like, okay, like your doctor said, I can't, in my conscious mind say I can let you walk out of here. Our blood sugar average machines only go up to 14. So it just says greater than 14, knowing that there is a medication that possibly could help you since you're choosing not to change things for yourself. Mm-hmm. So I do prescribe Ozempic. I have some people that say the same thing. They have the nausea, but it does decrease their diet.
It does.
Or decrease their appetite. So they actually limit their food intake. But I mean, you have to decide which one do you want to choose, whether it's the side effects of the food or the side effects of the medication. Everything you put in your body, and the way that you see it is going to have some type of effect on your on your body. So just like when they cut you open to see what the Ozempic did, they're going to see also what those food choices did to you. It works in the same way. Yeah.
Right. So Cleo is asking, plant-based is actually very good. But for me, it's more of a cost issue. Mm. The really good foods are super expensive. I usually do 2-month plant-based after Christmas. And I remember going back to using the US context. I remember when Michelle Obama was promoting her healthy lifestyle. And that was one of the criticisms that poor people, I'm not saying that Cleo is poor, I'm just saying that poor people cannot afford to eat healthy. It's cheaper to buy a bag of rice than to buy tofu.
So rice still would be plant-based, but okay. I definitely would agree that the cost could be, substantial for some people. And we would look at it as, what are the alternatives? So again, I'm not sure what are in the Jamaican supermarkets, but like in the US, we compare a bag of chips or hot dogs to like you said, tempeh or tofu, and like apples or fruit. And why is that cost so different, right? So we actually are trying to actually put in some regulations to actually help that, because that should not be a cost difference, that big of a cost difference for healthier food. And that is definitely something that I will agree with and look for. So what I try to have people do is actually make a plan for their foods ahead of time. So what they're actually going to eat. So therefore, what you eat is maximized. If you have to do, frozen vegetables or canned beans, things of that nature, instead of, like chips and things of that nature. But it still like it takes some definite planning to actually be able to get the foods that you need, and not go for the process that I put in quotation marks food, because it's really not food. It's something manufactured.
So canned beans are not considered processed food?
Say that again. Canned
beans aren't considered processed food?
No, if you look at most of them, like you look at the ingredients, it's usually like the beans, water, and salt. And you can just actually pour the beans out and actually clean them just with like water, just strain them out. It'll be just like, it's easier to make. Even beans in a bag, they're not that expensive that you can actually get. Usually the expense comes from some of the plant-based processed foods that are out, or the fresh produce, that's organic, because one, it doesn't feel like it fills you up as much, and therefore doesn't last as long or goes bad quicker than if you had some other types of produce. I would not do necessarily canned vegetables, because they're probably not the best. It's probably better to get frozen vegetables. So those are ways you can sometimes get around the cost. Shopping with at imperfect farmers markets, things like that in the US, some people have been able to cut costs that way. So if the food doesn't looks the best. It's like grown in an irregular way, even though it still has good nutrients in there. That's sometimes a cheaper cost. But I definitely agree that the cost of some foods that you would get is higher than if you shop for more processed foods. But it is something that we have to actually try to work with more from a political standpoint. But I also emphasize this for a lot of my clients is that people that actually have the means to eat healthy, to do that, and then put their money, their savings that they can actually make from businesses and put them back into the communities to have like community gardens to actually help. So that's where the church comes in, to where actually if people that have the funds to actually live a healthier life and be that example and put those money back into the communities that do not have it. And that can help more than waiting for law change.
Mhm.
So
there's another important question that somebody has, but I want to follow up with this first from because it's a follow-up from Claire. She says, that's why I'm restarting my backyard garden, trying to eat fruits that are in season and try bartering with family and community.
Yes. So,
okay.
but yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what we have to do. We have to take charge of our own foods.
It's so funny because back in the day, back in the 70s, you know, I was living in Jamaica then. You know, there was a prime minister called Michael Manley, and he and his wife, Beverly, used to encourage us to do backyard gardening. And people thought he was a communist, you know, and he wanted to bring communism and socialism. And here we are now, 2024, talking about going back to backyard gardening.
Yes, yes. And even for people that don't have, you know, yards, because, you know, I'm in California, the area is small. You can actually have gardens inside your home. They have different things that you can do that. And then, like you said, barter with people. So you make one thing, you know, grow another, and we can trade. So that definitely can be a case too.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't think you are able to do a diagnosis, but here is a question, and this is a real life situation. So Colleen is asking, can lifestyle changes help someone who has
hiatal hernia?
Yeah.
So it can help with reflux, but it will not necessarily reduce the hernia. So the hernia means that the stomach has come from below the diaphragm above the diaphragm. So it will not necessarily push that back down, but it can reduce reflux that you may feel.
Okay. All of that went over my head. What do you mean below the diaphragm? And
so what separates the chest, where your heart and lungs are, from where your stomach and intestines are, it's this muscle that's called the diaphragm. So your esophagus, which is your swallowing tube, goes down to the diaphragm, and then as it goes into your abdomen, that's where your stomach is. So it's below there. So when part of that comes above where it's supposed to be, that's a hiatal hernia.
Okay. So she said she understood. Thank God she understood.
Okay.
My issue is with sugar and ice cream and no. This was good, and we'll be wrapping up in 5 minutes. If anybody else have any other questions, feel free to. So talk to us in these last few minutes now about, yes, we did touch on the whole issue of the Daniel fast, you know, and I mentioned my spiritual take on food and so forth. But talk to us about how, for you, Amanda Adkins, how does faith inform your practice?
So one, I tell people I am the introvert. I am shy. I like to sit in the background, and that because of how my actual life has turned out, from being the overweight teenager to making these changes, growing up in the church, I've always been, you know, a follower of Christ, and learning things. I believe that he has helped me to get through med school and everything of that nature. No one in my family was in medicine. It just happened to be that in 6th grade, I was like, oh, this sounds like a lovely career. I'll go down that path. And just how doors opened for me. And after finishing up with residency, becoming an attending I just felt the Lord was calling me to actually come back to his community, seeing the church, especially African-American women that just continue to become more and more overweight, more and more chronic illnesses, and just always, asking for prayer, not necessarily making changes in their life, that he is having me to come back and actually talk to you about the things that you can actually do for your physical health while you're working on your spiritual health, because it is not necessarily that the two are separate. And if we do not actually build up our physical strength, it is going to be hard for us to continue to fight as it gets harder and harder, spiritual warfare. And I just feel like he's calling me out to do these things. I would never be volunteering to come out to talk like on this podcast or live, and for this long. My family is always surprised when they actually see and hear that I'm out, talking to different audiences. But I just believe that God's like, I've called you to this purpose, so you're going to come out and do this. Even if, Claudia, you do not feel like I've convinced you to change, I think it's going to continuoly be in your mind. You're going to look at your plate.
No, it is. No, I'm
you're going to be eating more plants. But I just believe that he's calling us to higher. And even if he made everything well, that we can actually live out a better purpose. We can actually use what we actually are doing in our lives to actually turn back to our communities and help them, because nobody wants to hear just that Jesus loves you. They want to actually see the love. Most of the time, if you read about the story of Jesus, he's talking to a person's physical needs, what they need before he actually talks about what they need spiritually, because it's hard. Like if someone's hungry, it's hard for them to learn something else. Like you have to actually speak to them physically first. So if we can go out to the communities, like I was saying, that we actually use our resources to come back to the communities and show them, how they can eat better, how they can actually build businesses, how they can have clean water, those types of things. And then you actually say, I'm not here on my own. I'm actually here as a representative of God. I'm showing you this love, and you're going to get more people that turn to the kingdom than if you just go in there, with revivals every single, quarter or something like that. Mm-hmm. So I just feel like that's more the spiritual aspect. So then if you do that and every single person actually sees that and actually carries out their God-given purpose, that we're going to be better for the kingdom in the long run. Wow.
Thank you. One last question, unless somebody has something quickly they want to ask. The how do you balance your scientific training and all that you've just said?
So I don't think the two are mutually exclusive. So okay. I have people that come and they tell me, I believe that, God is going to heal me. And I was like, yes, you came to see me. He's using me to help you. So that's what we're going to do. so he's not coming down in, human form to help you. He's using other people to help you. So I don't see the two as separate.
So. I love that. If I had said that, they would say I'm a heretic.
I know, I'm not blaspheming. I'm not the Messiah. I'm just saying he uses me. He actually called 12 of his disciples. We're actually called. We're to actually go out and make more disciples. So that's what I'm doing.
Well, I want to thank you. So, I could talk to you for another hour, but I'm sure we will have you back if you feel like talking again. Sometime in the future, we will find.
I have to get you plant-based. So I got to come back.
There's the incentive. Any final words you want to say to anyone who is watching this afterwards? About lifestyle and traditional medicine and wrapping it up with God and faith and
yes. So I just like to leave people with, every time I leave talking from somewhere, add more fruits and vegetables to every single meal. If you do that, you're going to see so much improvement in your overall health. You're just going to love that. And then continue to meditate on the scriptures to know that you are doing the right thing and that you are here for a purpose and you are needed. I need you to carry out your God-given purpose so I can actually carry out mine. So God bless you all.
Thank you so much. And yes, Cleo, I hear Cleo is saying that I should share some plant-based recipes. I do try. We do have a feature every morning where we share breakfast recipes, you know.
Okay.
And I try to mix it up, but okay, Cleo, I hear you.
Yes. Yes. And I'm gonna have to email you while you talk about Daniel fast. There actually is a group of there's two ladies that actually wrote a book that actually African American ladies that talk about Daniel's fast, and actually it's called danielsplate.com. So they have a lot of recipes there. So I always send people there. So you can learn more about that too. So just check them out.
Please do. I might even reach out to them. Okay,
Yep.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This was, and yes, she'll be back, folks. She'll be back, and we'll touch on other things apart from me being a horrible patient. And thank anyone for watching this after, and feel free to get in touch with us. We are on Facebook. Colleen says she's not too keen on vegetables and she needs to eat more. I guess it's a matter of how you prepare
them. Exactly.
Yeah. So please, folks, share the live, the recording, so that more people can hear about Dr. Adkins and her philosophies. I like how you broke down for us, you know, the lifestyle medicine and what it involves, and you know, it covering not just plant-based, but you know,
Right.
our movement, our sleep, the substances, stress reduction, and our social interactions.
Yes.
Thank you so very much for being here, and look forward to talking with you again in the future.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed talking to you.
Pleasure was all mine. Okay, have a good night, folks. See you again soon for another. It might not be nightcap. I think the next time we're coming live, it will be for a woman's perspective. Thank you, and have a good evening. Bye-bye.